Controlled opposition refers to a political, social, or protest movement that is actually secretly managed, supported, or influenced by the very power structure it ostensibly opposes. Despite what Twitter users might try to convince you, the slopification of artistic culture has been going on for a lot longer than we've had artificial intelligence. The safe corporatization of expression has bled from the corporate world into the artistic. Simplistic, ugly figures, forced diversity, and messaging akin to talking down to a toddler have infected the artistic scene for longer than most of us have been alive. This all follows the ascension of cliques that hated the West and everything it stood for. They saw themselves in permanent revolution against the system that came before. These people narrativized to themselves that they were always the rebel. This mentality, the mentality of the boomer, no matter how much power they accumulated, no matter how much control over society they seized, they, in their own eyes, would always be the underdog. They'd always be fighting against the system, man. In reality, they had become everything they stood against. But they are incapable of seeing this. Of course, you already know this, and it's a story for another time. Today, I'm talking about how somebody can pretend to be against a system that they functionally don't disagree with at all. Robin Gunningham, or as you may know him, Banksy, was an anonymous UK-based artist, well known for making pretentious street art, depicting wacky scenarios and deep ideas like, is lay war lay bad? Is lay resistance lay based? And of course, he's all about sticking it to the man, sticking it to society, with all of the depth of a puddle, all the intrigue of a 14-year-old's MySpace page. Banksy's art leaves little impression to anyone who's seen literally any other art besides his. This riveting art might make you think of the world a little differently. It might challenge your perspective. It might kind of get under your skin. If you were perhaps a Victorian who somehow stumbled across this video. But for a modern audience, it's incredibly flaccid. There's nothing going on here that hasn't been done by MTV. His style implies transgression against the system, but its meaning is in lockstep with it. This is corporate rebellion. There is nothing about this that challenges anything, which is why the system does not persecute him. The United Kingdom is not afraid to arrest people based off social media posts. If Banksy truly was a threat to anything, he'd already be destitute. Which, judging by his gallery sales, I assume him to be the opposite. Banksy has been allowed to erect a statue down the street from Trafalgar Square, which for all my fellow Americans is right off the River Thames in the heart of London, between Buckingham Palace and the British Museum. That would be like if I were able to erect a statue between the Lincoln Memorial and the White House. It would be very understandable for you to believe that I was bioluminescent if I was able to accomplish that.
You're fucking glowing! You're glowing! You're fucking federal agents!
If you're watching this video, you probably already seen it. But for the sake of argument, let's pretend you haven't. I'm gonna give you a few seconds to imagine Baby's first critique of nationalism, the most limp-wristed critique of nationhood. Whatever you came up with is probably 100 times better than this dingus. He made a man about to walk off a pedestal with a flag covering his face. I'm not Banksy, so I'm not going to insult your intelligence by explaining what this means. It's clear. If you can't interpret this in a second, you might be retarded, which I believe is a prerequisite for being a Banksy fan. The flag is left blank because it's meant to represent any country, But I would go as far to say that it represents any idea as well. The idea of marching behind any flag, holding anything deeply, ideology, race, nation, caring about anything terribly much is folly, and it blinds you. That is what this is actually saying. Ideas that disarm the peasantry are often professed by the ruling class. In reality, nationalism is the biggest threat to the status quo that exists. People often conflate nations and states as to exist as singular entities. In the modern era, the nation-state is the dominant life form, but make no misunderstanding. The nation and the state are two separate entities. And throughout the entire West, every single state exists at war with the nation. A weird relationship forms between the people and the rulers when aristocracies are entirely foreign to the nations they rule. Complete disconnect from the common people. The elite of the West fundamentally live entirely alien existences to its inhabitants. They worship different gods. Their lives are about as different as two humans' lives can be. They have nothing in common with us. Because of that, there is an inherent adversarial relationship between the apparatus of power and the people. The choice to use a flag is especially poignant, being that the flag is in the United Kingdom. Nationalism is under attack from all directions in every nation of the West. Directly under attack in Europe, and given lip service in the United States, castrated and renamed to patriotism. Banksy is a lot like modern punk. He is not punk in any way. If your politics align with that of Hollywood, you are not against the system. You are the system. As one can imagine, I take art very seriously. I believe art to be deeply important to a culture, to a nation, to a people. Art brings levity and understanding to people's lives. It is used to beautify their surroundings and make life worth living, to embolden and embrace a people's mythology, to teach lessons and to entertain. Art is unquantifiably important in a way that can't be explained by graphs and by numbers on paper. And when it is used as an expression of apathetic nihilism, when it's used as a charade of rebellion, it is utterly contemptible.